But welcome to the stream, welcome to the stream, welcome to the stream. It's Friday night. We're gonna do this first for this part of the stream here. We did a video like this, or I did a video like this, almost about a year ago. And so my intention was to do this video here, a year two part to this, just talking probably poorly about music, but mostly the record slash vinyl collection for year two of in the hobby of collecting vinyl. Like I said, did this about just a year ago because I remember last year it was just prior to Record Store Day 2024 is what we did last year. And I'm working on getting on. There we go. Oh, great quality video going on here. So last year when I did this video, it was kind of haphazard. What do I always say here? If I'm not always saying it, maybe I'm changing my mind here, or not changing my mind, but I'm making it up here. Always improve. And last year, I was like, how could I improve showing off vinyl? Because last year's video was rough. Because I was like, I didn't think ahead of time. Again, a bit more haphazard in its presentation. So I was like, damn, about a week and a half ago, maybe at this point, maybe a week ago, I forget when I recorded this, but I took basically, oh, wait, I think I was supposed to put 2025. I think I missed a 0 when I exported this. That's embarrassing. No one say anything about this, okay? don't worry about it when I exported it. So I was like, so a week or a week and a half ago or so, once I had all of these, I was like, what I'll do is basically just record, chop up the video, and then just present it here so that I can then, there's no audio to this, but then I could just, do thing. Oh, also background music. We want something, right? As I'm just talking. Here we go. Ooh. Random Nintendo chill music. Oh, that makes this perfect. So it's not just my voice. I hope that's not too loud, but not too soft. So yeah, I thought, what's the best way I can do this as compared to last year? Improve, right? Always be improving. A, B, I. I'm always saying ABI. So a week and a week, I'm just repeating myself now. I'm stuck in a loop, but I recorded these. I just basically a shitty webcam that I hardly use. Got myself awkwardly standing in front of it, recorded it, everything in some semblance of order that we'll talk about here for over the past year. So 2024 April to now, basically. And then just got that video, chopped it up, got a lot of negative space out there of the video, basically, and then just talk about it. And I'll probably be pausing a lot because really I cut out a lot of the fat of the recording of the video, right? Like, I just wanted to show the thing. Also, from the first video over the past year, I had that Instagram page where it was mostly just a catalog of what I've collection. And I won't get any credit for it, but my big brain was like, if I was going to do a second video of this, before I got the second video out and did this, recorded this, I hope you're following what my brain is saying. I wanted to get everything I had in my collection up until the very current, all up on that Instagram, spaced out as well as I could. So then what I did was I planned out how many records I was actually going to have, and then basically like spaced it out over however many months I had of the collection going up there, and then was like, here's the due date, which is around this time, this week or whatever. And basically so that the Instagram thing could be completely caught up with the collection. Everything I have is up there, and then this video shows off that everything. Like, it was all planned out months ago, weeks ago, days ago, some amount of time ago. So this is, again, this goes basically, and it'll be quite journey-wise because you'll see I'll talk about, like, groupings, and there's a road trip moment where I went on a trip to go to a couple of different stores and whatever. That's the idea. So, again, video not highest quality. but it is what it is. Um, if the first year of me collecting vinyl and first getting into the hobby of collecting vinyl records was all about like a baseline, like get the the first couple ones that I really wanted and that started the collection, and then getting some like a solid foundation of, right, like my favorite band Gorillaz, getting those, and of all the different studio albums and all that. That was the first year. The second year was definitely like expanding the collection. You're gonna see, we end up the first year, I think, if you go back to that old video, I think it was around 20 something pieces to show off. This is 40 something. So over the course of a year, 40, it's a lot more. I think mathematically it's about 2 times more. 20 and 40. So we have quite a bit. As you can see, the time bar here, it's about 30 minutes of recorded video. So I try to go decently fast. Also, and I hope to not do this in future years, if I'm to do a year 3 a year from now, I hope not to do this, but I cut out, or I did, not that I cut it out, I didn't record if a record was just pure black. But as I was getting things prepped over this past week for this video and stuff, and I was editing this video down, I had some regrets. I still think if a record is black, like, you still show it off. The label's nice to sometimes look at. It is what it is. Sometimes, you probably want to look at a nice little black record, Who am I to pass judgment? So, again, it was time crunch and laziness, honestly, because after a while, I was like, I'm spending a good chunk of a day just awkwardly unsheathing vinyl and showing off things as best I can. And I didn't want this video to be super long. Inevitably, it's going to be longer than I thought it was going to be, probably. If you're watching this on YouTube VODs, you're going to see the time bar and you're like, you really talked this long for this? And past me is here to tell you, yeah, unfortunately, probably. So yeah, I cut those out. So if I'll probably be able to note. I think there's one example towards the end that I showed off a black vinyl record. So I'll be able to do that. But obviously I know all of my pieces here. I know what is going to be black and what's like colored and I would show off or whatever. So I'll be able to, I guess, warn in advance. But like I said, this is mostly almost all going to be in time from, like I said, April 2024 up into current, right? So it should be in chronological order, except maybe there might be a couple differences. I guess we'll see it. Like I said, I shot this all during a day over a course of some day. And then when I was editing this, it was late at night / super early in one morning. So as you could probably as you can see, I meant to name this 2025, but just know that this was like early one morning, so it's, that's the reason. That what I'm basically trying to say is hopefully there's no big mistakes. If you're eagle-eyed viewers, if you're a super eagle-eyed viewer, there's going to be one noticeable mistake I made that you'll be able to tell, but it's a mistake I made during the shooting day, not during the editing time. And then what I had to do was fix it. Like, I reshot something, and there's going to be a dead giveaway. I'm not going to tell you what, because I don't want to take away the fun. But if you can catch it, I'm not going to bring up any notice to it unless I start laughing. If I start laughing, then maybe you'll know. But I'm giving you a notice in advance that there will be a thing that I reshot something a little bit later, and then in the editing, obviously put it in there, and hopefully I edited it correctly, because like I said, I was some morning sleep deprived and got this thing together, because again, classic Austin. Don't put a ton of effort into something, because then when you're not let down when the end product is not that great. You know what I mean? Classic me move. So, with all that said, we have the first piece. So, if we're talking, again, for vinyl collectors of any serious note, all familiar with Record Store Day. It's ballooned in what its concept is, but originally, and still to this day, sorta, is, hey, Record Store Day, trying to bring awareness to physical, independent record stores. And that was the initial pitch for the day that you celebrate to some extent. And then you show love to independent stores kind of thing. And obviously it's ballooned a lot, and now you have Record Store Day ambassadors every year. You have artists big and small releasing these limited pressings around the world and everything. That's generally why I ended up doing it at the end of last year at this time, and now this year, because I think Record Store Day, not this weekend, but coming up next weekend. I may, if I'm feeling up to it, try to get out and do something, but we'll see. Maybe I might be busy. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not as dead set on going out this year as I was last year. Last year, there was a lot of more things I was interested in doing. So basically, this starts with me being like, okay, Record Store Day. I went, this is April 2024, to 2 local stores here where I live at. One that was officially participating in Record Store Day, and one that wasn't really. And the one that wasn't really, I kind of liked more. It was a more smaller store. And since then, the store actually closed down. Last time I tried to go back there, didn't know it was closed, and then I went there and I was like, oh, that's a real big bummer, because I really liked it. It was a nice little small local store with a little local dog, record store dog. So sad. Ironically, when I went there for this day, I bought enough to, like, they gave basically like a tote bag for the store, which I still have because it's a good tote bag. But I bought enough there for them to throw in that bag, and then they're like, oh, when you come back and use this and you bring the bag in, we'll give you, like, always, like, I don't know what it was, 5% or 10% off your orders. And then never got to utilize it. So, but I'll show what I think I'll probably talk about that. Probably as a mix with all this. So the first one here was the bigger one that was participating. So this was a Record Store Day 2024 release of, oh, it's in motion. Okay. So Cracker Island Deluxe Edition of the album, Record Store Day 2024. I really wanted to get a hold of this. I forget the exact number. I don't have exact numbers or anything. Oh, nice and blurry. But I had the Zoetrope in the first video from year 1 from Blood Records of the original album. And I was like, it would be nice to have a standard kind of like copy of this album. Plus this is a deluxe one. So after the album came out, as Gorillaz usually does, they released basically a bunch of like tracks after it, and they'll do like a deluxe version of the song or of the album that has like a bunch of songs that were like originally cut, or sometimes remixes, or different like mixes kind of thing. And so you get that included here with these two. Here I am taking out. Okay, so I don't think it's funny because when I was editing this, it didn't come across, probably because of my shitty lighting job, because this isn't, you know, I'm not professionally lit or anything here. This is not a professional system here, but the two records are, one's supposed to be pink and one is quite magenta. But when you see me bring up the second one, there's the switch. I think that was the switch right there. So I think this is the pink one, and then I think the second one is the no, I think that's the magenta one. I think this has to be the magenta. This has to be the magenta one. This has to be magenta. And then I think this one's pink. But lighting job is so bad, I don't think you can actually tell. But when you look at them with your actual eyes, they're different colors. Obviously, pink and purple, very heavy Gorillaz color combination there. But yeah, I the lighting, not great. But great pressings. Again, limited to a certain amount of number. I don't know exactly what. Probably not something super low, but not something super high. Maybe 1500. I could look up the numbers. I'm too lazy at this point. I just want to yap, you know? But like I said, nice to have a pressing of this album that wasn't just the Zoetrope thing, which I have no problem playing the Zoetrope, you know, much more fancy version of this record that I have. But if I am like, oh, I want to listen to this as a record, then I'll be using this, basically. But again, nice art. The art on the front. Did I even show? There we go. We're clicking around. The art things on it are really nice. Obviously, Jamie Hewlett's art. Always very cool. Nice touches. Always nice flourishes to the music. Showing off the gatefold and all. Showing off some of the random posters, and there come calling them posters. They're like inserts, right? Little, again, key art kind of thing. All right, so right off the bat with the number 2 one. All right, so this is this was prior. So this was funny. So I picked this up. This is all in the same trip. This wasn't a Records Today pickup necessarily, but this was in the same trip. I wanted to get a hold of this. This was before Linkin Park did their whole big comeback thing back in 2024. So remember, this came out, I forget exactly when, but this was bought April 2024. And then the timing was very funny because obviously months after that, I don't need to get too big into it, but Linkin Park comes back, debuts new lead singer thing. Lots of controversies all in that. Very awkward. I don't know. Last thing I heard about Linkin Park is that they've had to, like, literally just a couple days ago, I saw some headline that was like they had to reduce size of some shows because some things weren't selling. It is what it is. I gotta be also 1,000,000% honest. I haven't listened to that new album. Don't know if I care to either. And that's not me being a hater necessarily. So when I picked this up months before that happened, it was because genuinely, this is what you'll start to see as I get through here. This is basically, they call it paper cuts, right? Yeah. So it's basically a greatest hits album. I can't even sit here and claim to be, when I was a kid, a teenager, the massivest Linkin Park fan. But I did listen to quite a bit of Linkin Park as a teenager. Again, not claiming myself as the biggest fan. I'm not even trying to, like, shield myself from, you know, being made fun of or whatever. Like, I don't care. Fucking like Linkin Park or not, whatever. But a lot of these songs, a lot of these tracks were in heavy rotation back when I was a teenager. Just because I was like many teens, I was like, yeah, I fuck with Linkin Park kind of thing. So when I bought this, I was like, yeah, it would be nice to have, like, a lot of this on vinyl. This was, you know, for a lot of people, I think, a lot of teenagers, such as myself, was big into Linkin Park. And like I said, as I got older, as they released a lot of newer stuff, I, you know, fell out of listening to a lot of Linkin Park. Again, I would never have considered myself as, like, oh man, I'm not listening to Linkin Park because I don't like the new direction they went in or how they sound. Or, you know, I'm not even like that. I was just like, oh, I changed my listening habits probably a bit. But, like, some of their old albums still fucking slap, I think. So the press itself is actually really pretty. I do like how this actually looks. Like, this is the clear with just a bunch of splatter is really nice. So yeah, big fan of the actual pressing, how it looks itself. And yeah, like I said, funny that I bought this being like, oh man, Linkin Park, remember those old days? And then literally, like, I think months later, it was like, they come back, lead singer thing, controversies. It is what it is. Still in the same trip. Again, this is not a Records Today. This is Antidotes by Foles. Just a solid album. I got it for pretty fucking cheap. It was at one of the stores. Just a solid album. Foles, solid band. This is an eco pressing, or I forget what they call it, recycled pressing maybe. Couple different terms for the same kind of thing. So basically, scraps from other vinyl pressings basically are gathered to get all thrown together and then made into a new record. So they're all variants basically. None of them are always going to be the same. Like there's not a, you know, mine mine comically looks like a shit brown color, which is honestly fine because, you know, you buy it and it's, when I bought it, it was sealed and I was like, I'm ready for it to look like however it looks. And I've seen a couple pictures of others because I was curious. I was like, how does other people's look like? Some are like red, some are blue, or mine looks like literally sewage brown. So I don't know how I got so lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, it is very, there's like, I don't even know if the camera picks it up well, but like there's me trying to show it off. I try to like zoom in a bit. I'm like showing off. I'm like, you can see some different colors, some veiny looking red splotches in here. There's something else in there, but mostly you're getting poop brown, which honestly for recycled pressing, it's fine. I like it. You know what? Give me the ugly color for the recycled pressing. But I will hype up. I mean, the album is great. Foles is great. They've got something I only learned after the fact is there's a song there's like a single song that I really like of theirs that I thought was going to be on this, but it's not, because I guess it's a part of like it was like a single released after, or kind of like the Gorilla situation, like I think something they released on like a deluxe album version of this. So I was like, fuck. Didn't know that was gonna, oh, look at me. I'm trying so hard. I'm like, look at it. And then this was also still the same trip. The Linda Lindas. Solid teenage girl. Music. That's a weird way of me putting it. Why did I say it like that? I don't know why I said it like that. But like, yeah, a solid pickup. I love the pressing. There's a couple Linda songs that I really like. There's me showing off. Yeah, so they're like paper. I was gonna say dolls, but they're like standees. Is that what you call them? I don't even know. Obviously, you're gonna see this throughout the video here. But if a record ever comes with like, for one way of putting it, like an interactable piece of something, you're gonna see I'm not disassembling it. I keep it with the record, and I also don't like punch them out and use them or whatever. Like I think, like what am I gonna do? Like punch them out and put them somewhere in my little apartment? No. I'd rather just keep, like, it's a cool thing, it's a cute little thing. I'd rather just keep it with the record itself. So there's those. Cool little concept though. I like that, especially when you consider the front of the album there in general. Nice looking lyric sheet housing the record. Look at me, yeah, show off. It's very funny. Like I said, I shot this a week or a week and a half ago, and then I edited it in a sleep-deprived state. I vaguely don't remember exactly everything I did to show off these records. That's why I don't know if I'm going to make any mistakes at some point. But nice little pressing. Also, yeah, it's really pretty. I like the colors. Big fan of purpley pink. I don't know what you'd call it. Purpley pink? Plink. Plunk. I don't know why I spin it so much. Why am I spinning it? You can see, again, eagle-eyed viewers, you can see the reflection of the camera and then back into the computer recording the video. It's like double on double. And then I think I'm trying to remember. This might be the last of the ones I got on this trip. This is not going to be a super fancy find or anything. As far as I know, these records were one of those types of records that like flooded record stores and just online and everything. So like if you ever wanted to pick up a copy of this, you can easily find it. But I wanted it. It is Mac Miller's NPR Tiny Desk concert, which is, in mine and many other people's opinions, probably one of the best Tiny Desk concerts. One of the best. If you don't think it's the best, then maybe one of the best, probably. Nice little message there. There, written in his handwriting. Just overall solid, and obviously nice blue pressing, contrasted with the red label. If you just watch the Tiny Desk concert on like YouTube or whatever, if I remember correctly, they cut the in-betweens in between each song because they edit it into like a video thing. But a cool thing about this record is that in between each song, they just let it keep running, obviously. So the coolest thing about this actual record is that you're getting a lot of like the in-between stuff where they're just talking in between songs, kind of shooting the shit a bit, introducing a lot of the people who are playing some of the backing instruments during it. It's really a nice like package, honestly. And then what I try to show off on the back is it's etched with the final thing, Love Always, and then down below his signature, which again matches that. So Love Always, Mac Miller, and then they put it as a I'm accidentally, but yeah, which I think is a nice touch. Again, nice blue color to this whole thing, and like I said, very fun. Very fun that you get to hear the in-between stuff, the banter during the concert and everything. Again, it's only, I think, 3 songs, but yeah, nice pressing. There's a little thing with details on it. Now we're leaving that trip, that April 2024 Record Store Day, and now this has, I'll get a better shot, a story attached to it. So this was a record released for Record Store Day 2024, but I was not able to get it at a store for Record Store 2024. And I think Paramore.
Kind of work your team does.
What?
I can help manage it.
Is that an advert on my video? Damn it. I cut out the video, the audio on here. They're not getting any free advertisement out of me. And no, I don't obviously subscribe to YouTube or use ad blockers because I'm either responsible or a chump, depending on how you look at it. Okay, it's back. Let me get that back going. Perfect. Okay, so I was like, that doesn't sound like music. That's some advertisement for a car or something. Where was I? Oh, so Paramore, the band, was what they deem the Record Store Day 2024 ambassadors or whatever, which is like, oh, you know, it's just a whatever. But they basically had this release for this. So this is both the original This Is Why album and the This Is Why album back to back. So it's a double LP, both the original album and then the remix album, the excellent, in my opinion, remix album that they did for their album. And so I wasn't able to get it at a store for Record Store Day, so I was like patrolling Discogs at this point for a copy of it, and I wanted to get a copy of it early because I was like, oh, I'd rather try to get it earlier than later. In my weird idea in my head, I was like, oh, it's gonna be better if I try to get it early and I'll just whatever. So I ordered it for like early secondhand online before prices had settled. So I like substantially. So like I paid quite a bit for what was supposed to be this. Again, it's the double album. It's the original This Is Why and then the remix album in one thing. Ordered off Discogs, paid a nice amount. Finally get the package from some lady in some state. North Carolina, maybe? I don't know. And she sends the wrong thing. She labeled it the wrong thing on Discogs. I was lied to. And I was like, ugh. I opened it. And I'm like, ugh. It was just the original album. It wasn't the 2 thing. And then this is like, was this my first or second time ordering something off of Discogs? No, it was probably like my second or third. But I was like, oh my god, it's also the first time I've ordered off something off Discogs and it just be the wrong thing. And I'm expecting the worst. I'm like, I'm unresponsive person. I got duped. I picked the wrong thing. I'm messaging her and I'm like, you labeled this the wrong thing. And she's like, oops. And I'm like, oh god. So I'm like, you got to take it back. Like, you just got to fucking take it back. Like, I was like, I get refund my money. And she's like, oh, well, send it back. And don't, for some reason, she was like, don't do it through Discogs or something because of some, I forget what the reason. I mean, this was almost a year ago. She's like, don't do it for this reason, whatever. Just do it and I'll refund you and whatever. And then there was like a whole big thing where I had to like figure out how to fucking like, I don't ship things out. I only buy things. I only consume things, right? So then like, I had to like get, like, I had to figure out how to ship like a record back to her in like good condition. So then I'm like, oh man, I had to do, I mean, it shouldn't have been a big deal, but I had to, logistically, I was like, I gotta pick up a box that fit a record, like they ship it in, and then I gotta do this, and like, if only she only labeled it correctly, like, whatever. So I send it back, I finally get a refund, it's totally fine, it's what it is. I'm annoyed, but I'm fine. But the thing was, it ended up, and I got a full refund, no problem there. It just took time. And what ended up happening was, in that amount of time, I was like, well, I gotta order like the correct thing. Like, I want this. So in between the times, then prices really came down on these quite a bit. Like, the price settled quite drastically. So all in all, I ended up paying like way less for the thing because, yeah, like I said, prices came way back down. I just had that whole nonsense happen prior to it, but in the end, it worked out for me. Like I said, really wanted this. I really like the remix album. I like the original album. It's solid Paramore, current day Paramore outing. I get not everyone's a big fan of Paramore. That's totally, you know, understandable. Oh my god, me trying to hold this and wield this. There you go. There's that gatefold. But I think the album and the remix album, exactly what a remix album should be. They each song, they bring in like a different collaborator, different artist. Cool concept. The two records, I say albums. The 2 records, one is this red color. This one is like, I think they call it like bone white or something. Again, just nice concept as far as pressing goes. Nice white and red kind of color scheme kind of thing going on. Overall, very nice. Alright, this one, the biggest outlier in my collection now at this point, and now definitively my oldest record I have in my collection. This is, Styx Renegade? I forget actually what the actual album is called. I don't think it's Renegade. Renegade's just the one song that I know off this album. So, basically the story, I don't open this up actually. It's just an old fragile like record. It's like I said, it's now the biggest outlier in my collection, but and normally I wouldn't have something like this in my collection because I'm very picky has such negative connotation to it, but like I'm very, you know, if I have something in my collection, I want it to be in there for a reason. I just don't want random things. But this was picked up. Again, it is old. It's kind of cool to have at least one old vinyl record, I think, in the collection. But I went with a friend to here locally, a coffee and vinyl place. It was just like some coffee vinyl shop thing. And we got like coffee and pastries. And then she was like, we should like each pick up a record. I'm like, you know what? We should. And like I could have picked something that maybe is more like fit for my collection, maybe. Like easily I could have. There was some Seal to stuff. There was some newer stuff. There's more contemporary stuff there, whatever. But I saw this and I recognized it. And there's like I said, that one song that I really like of theirs. But I was like, you know what? I'll pick up this. Fuck it. I'll pay. It wasn't that much, obviously. It's just a, like I said, I opened it up. I opened it up and I was like, oh, it's like I don't show it off in here, probably for good reason. The record, it's not super scratched or whatever. It's just obviously not in super high quality. And the inserts in it are a little bit rough. But, you know, that's old vinyl for you, I guess. This is CSS. Big CSS. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the actual Brazilian name of the band, because I'm just gonna make a fool of myself. But big fan, big stan. CSS is dope. I will always stand up for CSS. And this was like one of the, I think this was a record I wanted to get in, and I was very close to buying the first year that I was collecting vinyl, and then I ultimately ended up waiting and getting it. I forgot why I was waiting. I think I either ordered something else in place, or it was like too expensive at that time, and then it finally like I got it for a better deal or something. Something like that. But I like this pressing, some limited number of them. It's a hot pink color, which just makes sense for the album. Just is good. Good shit. Like I said, highly recommend CSS as like a band. I know they've kind of come back and have done like some touring or something recently, but as far as what I'm concerned, a band gone too soon kind of thing type situation. Really just upbeat, fun, messy songs is what I would describe CSS. Brazilian, Portuguese band, but a lot of fun. One of their songs was, I think, if I'm like trying to, if anyone's to know them and they don't think they know them, but they do know them, they were like way back in the day when those like Apple iPod commercials were like a big thing. The marketing where it was like just like silhouettes of people dancing. When those were very popular. Remember when iPods were things? I think one of their songs was in one of those adverts really early on. So that's here's an insert in the thing, just some pictures of them, the bandmates. Great thing. All right, this record, holy shit. Okay, so full circle moment. If you go back to the first video, so 2024, we did this year for the first year vinyl collection. At some point in that video, I forget when, I forget if it was mid-end or like very end, I was talking about like, oh, things I'm gonna order in the future, which is now, like presently. At the time, this was before we knew Brat was a thing. Like Brat wasn't settled on as what it ended up being. But at the time in that video, so a year ago, I said, I called my shot. And I was like, I said at the time, this is me, what I was saying back then, I was like, I'm a big Charlie fan, Charlie XCX fan. And I was like, I think I was talking about how I had already put down an order or was already planning. I think I had already put down the order at that point because at the time we were ramping up to the marketing of Brat. Again, prior to we knew anything. And I remember at the time, I was like, oh, if I do a video a year from now, which is now, I'll be like, oh, I know this will be in the collection. Because, again, big Charlie fan I was for years now at this point. Because I'm a tastemaker. I was like, yeah, I know she's going to release a new album this year. And way early, like, it was a quick get, but she put out like a thing where she was like, before she said what any of the songs were, nothing came out. Like Von Dutch wasn't a single yet. Brat as a concept was a thing. She's like, you can put down an order on her shop for this, what ended up being this variant of this record. And I did it at the time. So I think in that video a year ago, again, I'd have to check my words, but I think I said I'd already put down an order. But again, this was prior to what this phenomenon ended up becoming. And that's because I was already confident that I was probably going to like it. Again, the taste maker I am. So yeah, go back a year ago. and I was talking about this before we knew it was Brat. I probably didn't even call it Brat because I didn't know what it was. But you'd have to go to find that video from a year ago. But it ended up being this, and then this album blew up, didn't it, last year? Oh man, so full circle from that video. Again, what did you call this? A little, that's like raised up, so it's like a thing. So obviously there were many variants of this album that ended up coming out. Mine was this, I forget what they call it. It's just like, it's like her shop, whatever her shop was, variant, because it's, you could have only got it during that really short time frame. Again, before you knew anything. I think I try my best to show off what it is. So here's again, I don't know exactly what the other variants and everything are, but I just love, like, honestly, the packaging of this thing. As far as, like, a package, this is really cool. You have to, like, tear into these, like, you have to rip away these things. It had the sticker at the, you know, that you kind of had to, like, cut through. Oh, shit. That you had to, like, cut through on there. I obviously left it on. You don't just, like, peel it off like a fucking madman. Like I saw some people doing. You don't peel that off. You just cut through. Some people are crazy. Anyway. So this thing falls off. I think I show what these are later. But I stick that thing just in the middle. Because I'm like, I don't know where to put this thing. So yeah, you have to, like, on both sides. The record's here. This is some, like, paper thing you'll see. But here's the gatefold. Nice picture. You get a glimpse. Oh, there I am showing off this thing. I don't think I'd show it off well. But it is, I think just like liner notes. Stuff like that. You know, written by, produced by, notes. But it's on like that, I forget what this paper is called. But it's on like that cool kind of whatever paper where it has like the yellow copy behind it. And all that. Fuck. It's gonna bother me that I can't remember what the term for this paper is. But it is what it is. Now, I show off the booklet, so it comes, so this would have been on that left side of the gatefold. It's just a thick booklet where, again, we go, the color and the font, the fuzzy, all lowercase Brat font, all, the marketing behind this project was great for many reasons, but even beyond just the green and like the shade of green, and then the Brat as like a thing, like the whole, again, I'm trying to talk about like this whole package is like, I think very smartly made. I think I open up to the middle because it has like this glossy picture thing first, but then what I end up showing is that each of the, so this is like a lyrics book, so it has all the different things, but again, nice little touches. Again, what do I always say on this channel? I'm an appreciator of the small things. And so, like, each lyrics are written out in different, like, shapes and shit. I guess obviously it looks like an hourglass. Oh, great. So all of them, each song has, like, different, shape to them. It's just a nice touch. Here's me showing off. So this is the actual where the record is housed in. Again, numbering and tracks just thrown about carefully. Very smart. So this is the variant I ended up getting. This is the one that it is. So it is a picture disc. Different picture on each side. Still sounds great. So you know, a lot of people, audiophiles, will be like, oh man, picture discs and zoetropes, you know, these days, the sound quality might be bad. And that's just comes down to the actual pressing and like if they press it bad, like you can get really good audio quality. Again, as much of an expert as I could be over the last 2 years, as someone who has now picture discs and regular and whatever the case, like you can get just as good as audio quality from just straight up picture discs. But again, a nice, like I said, there's many variants of this album now out there. It kind of got ridiculous just how much, but yeah, mine is, I don't think she or anyone released what the actual numbers are of how many of these were. I do remember just when I ordered it, I was very quick, and I know the window to get it from where it was very small. So that was, and then like I said, I had put down that order at some point in 2024 in the first like 4 months, and then it came out months later. So it was, Oh, this is so this is a soundtrack to Death Stranding, one of my favorite games back in 20. It was my favorite game of 2019, and how timely we're getting Death Stranding 2 here in just like what, 2.5 months now. I'm very excited. Death Stranding. So I ended up at some point. This was just ordered offline. The soundtrack to the first game. A lot of low roar. If you're a low roar fan, there are many low roar tracks. Actually, so there's two things you could buy. There was the original soundtrack, and then there's songs from the game soundtrack. So these are like licensed songs kind of thing, if that makes sense. Produced and made for the game, but this isn't like the original soundtrack to like. It's like two separate things. I ended up getting this one. So a lot of low roar. There's like a Churches song on it, stuff like that. I do like, you can see like it's like mostly that matte finish, and then it has like these glossy like things on the front and back. It's got this Obi strip like thing, vinyl term Obi strip. Now it is a 3 LP, and there's going to be a couple of triple LPs here in this collection that I show off in this video. Fucking unwieldy. I love the concept of like triple LP album like packages, but they end up being, their thickness is not the problem. They're just so unwieldy. Like anytime I am to like handle anything, it becomes a mess for my hands. So I try my best here showing off. Oh my god, I'm always like using it against my body, trying to show off what it is. So again, continuing with the matte and then some like nice finish. I don't know if I open it up completely, but basically this would be on all 3 inside parts. It's just like this like background, this shiny whatever background. You got these things. I forget what these things are called, but in Death Stranding, they're like weird little bug things, and you just kind of eat them, I think, to like get energy or piss or something. I forget what they're called though, but they restore like stamina, I think. But I also think they make you piss. It's been like 6 years since I played Death Stranding. It was my favorite game of that year. but you eat these things. And then, yeah, so it's a triple LP. I think I only end up showing one of the records off, but they're all, one of them is this silver, one is gold, and one is pink, which is a very weird color combination. But yeah, this is the silver one. There's a gold one, and then just imagine like a weird fleshy pink color, which may be to match the pink. Now that I think about it, the pink might be matching these weird bug things I'm talking about that you eat. I mean, they don't look very pink here because they're shiny, but I think those are pink. They're like pink little, almost like pill bug like things that float. Play Death Stranding and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Or don't. You know, I'm not going to make you. I'm not going to make you. Okay, yes. So this is Science Fiction by Hikaru Utada. Of course, my love. I shouldn't say it like that. No, I love them. This is, so earlier I was talking about how Paramore did like a remix album in the year 2024 correctly. Or I guess technically 2023. When did that album actually come out? Was it end of 2023? Whatever the case is. Maybe 2024. This is how you should definitely release a greatest hits album in the year 2024. So this ends up being a box thing you'll start to see. I love Hikaru Utada. This is I mean, that's just a fact. This is a Japanese import that I ended up ordering, obviously, a while back. But the whole thing about this and the whole lead up to this release, it's a greatest hits album. Obviously, Utada's long career spans many, many years. Much to choose from as far as for a greatest hits album. But the cool thing that they did with it is that a lot of the tracks are re-recorded. Not just like remastered, but like re-recorded with like a different take to them. And some people may balk at that. Some people may be like, they scoff and they go, this isn't my version of this song. And it's like, all right, well then go listen to that song. That song's not disappeared. But what they did was re-release or re-recorded a lot of these tracks. Pretty much almost all of them, except for ones that were like just recently released. So like things off like the latest like album or something, they didn't need to re-record anything. But like not only re-recorded, but different takes on some of the songs, different sounds, different like, God, I sound such like a fucking nerd when I say it, but like different takes and different like soundscapes to some of the songs, like different, just like the best I can put it is different takes to some of the songs, and it's actually really cool. I think it's a really cool idea. So if you're like possibly wanted to, you could just easily find them because it's, you know, it's just music. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's a really cool concept of not just like, not like you could easily just get a make a greatest hits album, just throw some songs together that are your best and then put out a package, people eat it up kind of thing. But I think this kind of take to it was super interesting, and I ended up really liking it as an idea. It's obviously shows a lot more work. It's a lot more work to re-record all your songs and kind of, you know, change them up and produce them differently. But yeah, I really like it. I guess I could have just been rolling this. I think it's really cool. It's a nice package too. It's nice. It's got this, oh yeah, there I am. I'm showing up. It's up close. Camera work. Nice, beautiful package. Cool idea, concept. Utada looks great in all these photos. I think that I have trouble taking off the little thing. Like the plasticky thing that goes over like the box set basically. And then this is like a little booklet thing that's in it. It's like liner notes and lyrics, and then a bunch of like photos from like a photo shoot with Utada. So again, they look stunning as always. Nice lyrics. I don't speak Japanese. I don't know Japanese, so I can't read a lot of the lyrics, but it's fine. I think I show off. Yeah, these are just the again, just carrying over the concept of it's like a weird shape thing and then like a picture. But all these records are black, so I don't end up taking any of them out, I don't think. No, I don't. So yeah, cool. This is Shinbengumi, latest album from Ginger Root. I like Ginger Root quite a lot. And I'm kind of kicking myself. I had the opportunity to go to a Ginger Root show last October. Like, tickets were cheap here, like locally. And then I think ultimately, like, I usually never have plans. And then, like, I think something actually did come up to the point where I was like, damn, I can't go to this. Maybe a work thing? I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was definitely something, though, because I was, like, kicking myself because I'm like, ugh. But I like this. A lot of people probably... General consensus seems to be that this is the latest album from Ginger Root. But probably not people's favorite. I actually kind of liked it. I will say, obviously, I think I like other projects, but I like the album in general. Oh, it's another one of those paper things, so you can punch this out and make the little studio thing. Again, I love I think his name Cameron. I love Cameron's whole beyond the Ginger Root music project. Like, I love how multimedia, like videos, YouTube wise and stuff, and dedication to actually. I'm a big like music video person, even since I was like young. Like I love the art of like good music videos, and beyond just making a good music video for music, but like elevating like videos to be their own like separate thing. So I really liked for this album cycle the concept of a lot of the videos for this. I really love Cameron's like sense of humor. So very fun. If you're like just have a little bit of time and you want to listen to some great music and the music videos and everything, pick apart and then just like I gotta go forward. I also love the pressing. It's this nice, I forget what they call it, cloud white or blue or something like that. It kind of looks like spilled milk. So there's like the splatter effect, and then like in the middle there's this like we'll go with we'll go with spilled milk as the analogy kind of effect there. I think I try to zoom in on a certain part because my pressing specifically, some of that milk effect got onto the actual label. I think it's right here where my mouse is. I think I'd try to show it because I noticed it when I first opened it. Oh my god, I'm trying to get in it. So yeah, oh that's good show. Oh my god, past me is so good at this camera work. So like, I'm pretty sure that's like this thing, this effect, this material like leaked onto the actual label part. So it's unique. God, look at that camera work. Oh my god, I get so close. Look at me trying so hard. Go past me in this hockey jersey. Yeah. Go me. Okay. This is World of Horror soundtrack. God, I love this art right here. Someone could accuse me of being a bigger fan of the everything around World of Horror more than I actually enjoy the game of World of Horror. And I would be like, I disagree with you, but you might be onto something, because I feel now I've not just this, but I've got like joggers, World of Horror joggers. I got a shirt. I got this. I thought there was something else that I can't think of, but whatever the case is, I like the game World of Horror. I like things about World of Horror maybe just slightly more than the actual game. I think the game is fine, but it's rough. There's a hard barrier to entry for the actual game of World of Horror. But they ended up releasing this. It is just the soundtrack. The music is so great. It's kind of hard to explain because I don't want to get into, I mean, we're talking about music and not necessarily the game, but the game is like very hardcore, kind of like old school computer RPG experience where it's brutal in that it's a rogue light, but it doesn't tell you a lot of its inner working systems. So it kind of leaves you to either, if you're like dead set on learning everything yourself, you're going to do a lot of trial and error type stuff, or if you're the type of person that loves going to a wiki to find out like what certain events do and items do and what interactions, like if you're one of those types of gamers, capital G gamers, then this game is for you. I generally don't like having to look things up, but also I'm like, some of these, like, not knowing how things are going to work. Whatever. Again, we don't need to get into the actual game of it. The soundtrack is great. And the artwork on this, I forget her last name, but I follow her on some social medias. Nina something. I think she goes by Space Coyote on social media. She did the art for this. She did the art for the shirt and the joggers I was talking about before. But I think this front is really great. Like these, like, I don't know if you would call them like fake headphones, kind of like thing. It's just so good. Again, the game is called World of Horror. It's like a horror game basically. Also on the back, this fucking dog. If you know about the game, but it's cute. I just like the concept. We'll get into the actual thing. Lighthouse. Again, very cool. Ends up being a very cool package for this record. And then the pressing itself is really nice. It is this red with a dark black splatter. The label's looking dope. Just, again, overall high quality pressing. Great music. Big fan. This is Cordell. This is not gonna be like, this is like the one where I'm like, maybe the one this in the whole video where I'm like, oh, this is definitely not gonna be everyone's cup of tea. What's the term for the genre? It's funk, I think, but I'm not gonna be able to explain it if you don't know what that means. But yeah, Court Hell's A Million Ways to Murder. I think on there you could see hand numbered. I think there were only 300 of these made. I think that's what that says. Yeah, 300. So I have 101 out of 300. I definitely ordered it a lot late. I don't think that the thing was about this, like number-wise. I don't know if I'm trying to blow up Turntable Labs' system here, or whatever the case may be. But it says it's out of 300. And I ordered mine super late. And when I was cataloging this on Discogs, the example picture was of a later number. So how did I get an earlier number? I don't know how any of that works. Did they not send it out? Do they just shuffle it up and then go whatever? That's most likely the answer. that's most likely the answer. But like in my head, I talk about blood records a lot. And I know their whole system is they number it to the order. So if they did a 5,000 pressing and you ordered yours 2,000 whatever, they number that and then you specifically get that number. This, I don't know how other places, retailers do their business. Maybe they do just number 300 and then when you order one, they just pick one random and then throw it in or whatever. This is, I forget what they call it, but it's basically this smoky gray kind of thing. Again, the music itself, I'm not the deepest fan, but like every once in a while, I'll put on a Cordell song because it is exactly what I just kind of want to listen to. Heavy bass. Again, I think the genre is technically like electronic funk, PHONK, I think. But not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Now this is in the running now this year and in my whole collection, maybe the most interesting of my collection. And we'll see why in a sec if you don't know. So this, I talk about Blood Records a lot. This is Blood Records offshoot Bad World, where they basically try to they do successfully market and push out like filled vinyl. So like think like liquid filled or whatever vinyl. Liquid filled vinyl over the last several years mostly has been like very limited pressings, very very niche, very like one-off pressings of varying quality that people like do for like contests a lot of the time. And then Craig at Bad World and Blood Records was like, I want to try to make it. So as far as I know, and I've heard him talk about the process a lot, was like, we spent years R&Ding this thing and like to make it, mass marketable kind of thing and mass put out. So basically his system is they take pre-orders, they make to order, and then it's like the window is there and then that's it. So they don't, unlike a lot of Blood Records where it's like, this is a 5,000 pressing and you just got to order as quick as you can to try to get if you want it. This is like the window to order is like 24 hours. I think this order or window was like 48 hours, and then I think it opened back up again. So occasionally he'll be like, oh, we'll take a couple more orders, whatever. And then they just make it to once it's ordered. So this is the movie Saltburn, soundtrack, which I watched the movie a while back. I think it's fine. It was weird because I watched it way after the hype of it. I think it was hyped up, and I'd always heard about it. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, it was definitely one of those situations where I was like, oh, this isn't as... It was fine. It was a fine movie. It didn't deserve all the hype. But yeah, what you'll see here is that this is liquid filled. I think I first show off the little booklet that's in there. It just has some art from the movie, some stills or some maybe like even like concept arty type stuff. And then I think this is, what the actual record is in. It's a thick boy. So I'm going to start. The thing is, to get a liquid filled vinyl, at least their process, I don't know if this is like for others, but Bad World / Blood Records process is, and he's talked about, it's like, they're a little secretive about how they do it or whatever, but in the liquid they use inside of it. But it's like, you can tell, and I don't know if I try to show it off. It's like two already thick vinyls put together, like, and like almost like welded shut. Also, it might look kind of not as viscous as it used to, but that's because it was I pulled it off of the shelf. And like, it's like the liquid inside of it basically works to the point where you just gotta like turn it back and forth a little bit, and then it like almost like remixes and like gets the right viscosity kind of thing. It's kind of weird. But yeah, again, if you've seen the movie, you kind of get the reference to what this is, but it is, quote, bathwater filled, liquid. So again, I don't know if I show it off, but it is a thick, heavy record because it is two already thick records basically placed one on top of each other. Kind of like if they made a record and then the record was one of the halves of an Oreo cookie, and then you take the two Oreo cookies to make the actual Oreo like sandwich thing, right? I don't know if that's a good analogy, but that's just what comes to mind immediately. So I think I go back and forth showing the liquid. It is again, it's as a product, it's interesting to have, and that's why I wanted it. I was like, oh, of course I would want something like this. It ends up being, it's a decent soundtrack, with all things considered, all the songs for the movie. But yeah, it's a nice package. Oh, I don't show it off too much. I thought I was gonna show off how thick it was on the side, but it's not the case. Just imagine very thick. It's very thick, very heavy. But it still sounds great. It doesn't have like sound problems. I think there would be some people that were like, oh, this isn't like, oh, is it not going to sound great? Because again, hand in hand with record collecting and record even listeners, right, is like audiophiles, and they're like, oh, it's got to sound perfect for whatever. It's whatever. This was, and then this was part of so when was this? At some point I went back to a couple of one of the stores I went to earlier in this video, just because they were doing some kind of sale or something, and I wanted to pick several things up. But I randomly found this. This is Black Kids. But if most people are thinking of Black Kids, they're probably not thinking of this album. So this was probably, this, as far as I know, is not as popular one of their albums as was. Black Kids definitely had a popular point, if that makes sense. But I think at some point they probably a bit fell out of favor. But yeah, it's Rookie. It has a gatefold, but it's just one album. And yeah, I like it. It was just, this was honestly like one of those like random finds. I wasn't planning on buying it, but when I saw it and it wasn't too expensive, I was like, oh, I want that. It's just a black record as well, so I don't show that off. This is Video Game Lo-Fi Celeste. I think Video Game Lo-Fi as like a label does a lot of like video game lo-fi takes on music, and then sometimes puts them out as records. This one obviously being for Celeste. Again, I think most of the ones you're about to see here are during this trip when I went to a store. These weren't like pre-planned for me to get, unless there's some example I'll say in a second where I'm kind of contradicting what I'll say there. But yeah, this was another like random find where I'm like, oh yeah, I'd want that. It's nice. It's a nice package. Just lo-fi. Obviously, Celeste music is already really great. Some of the lo-fi takes on some of the tracks are really good too. It's nice. I think it's just black record, so I don't show it off either. This was also a random find. I was like, hell yeah, I'll pick it up. I will say, on the very off chance that you have not watched the Scott Pilgrim animated show that Netflix did last year or whatever, and you're wary of spoilers, there's like a slight small spoiler potentially on how you look at it in this. So if you're like, oh, I don't want spoilers for the show that's been out for a while now, just skip ahead for a bit. But this is Netflix's animated Scott Pilgrim show soundtrack. Great soundtrack to a great show. I really liked that show. I remember, I'm really bad at watching TV, I gotta be honest, because I do so many other things with my free time that I'm really bad at like sitting down and dedicating myself to like a season of some show. Unfortunately, I end up missing a lot of good stuff apparently, but it is what it is. Yeah, this is a great soundtrack to that show. Showing off the gatefold there. Oh, nice art. I'm a pretty decent fan of the original movie. I read the comics way back in the day as a teenager, and then the movie came out, and I'm a big Edgar Wright fan, the director, and so him doing this movie was really cool, and I liked it back in the day. I still, to this day, kind of like Scott Pilgrim. I think, as with any kind of, like, fucking thing, like, the obnoxious part of any fandom is not going to understand certain bits of things and whatever. That's a whole nother tangent. I don't need to get on that. And then I thought this show was really good. I thought it was really clever. Really great, clever take on doing an animated version of the Scott Pilgrim show. Or of the Scott Pilgrim story. I do show this one off even though it's black because it's a 2 LP thing. And one of them is black and one of them is white. So I just wanted to show the contrasting situation. Was that the spoiler, technically? Let me see. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by spoiler, but yeah, showing this. Maybe you see this and it's like, oh shit, spoiler! Also, I don't know what's going on with the camera, but like the red was like flashing almost, it looked like. Weird camera situation. But yeah, here's white one. So 2 LP, black and white. Inverted label colors. Great. Comes with this pissed me off. Fucking I somehow when I was storing this album last time I opened it up, I bent the fucking corner of the thing. These are like liner notes and stuff, but it's in the version of like a playbill kind of thing. Again, if you've seen the show, you would understand why it's designed like this. But I thought this is a cute little touch. Fucking bent it, damn it. There's me trying to fix the bend. Look at me, like, live being, like, upset. Like, if you can't see my face right now. But if you could, I'm probably, like, fucking cursing. Because I'm like, fuck, how do I bend this part? Shit. Fuck. But yeah, it's like a little playbill thing. Okay, so the main reason I went to that store. So, back when I was like, oh, they're random finds. So, I was at this store. I went to the store. And the store I follow on, I think, Instagram, just because occasionally they'll post, new things that come into their store. And it was, at this time before I went to the store, it was, a week prior, I saw that they had this and another record come in. And I was like, oh, man, I wish I was making it to this, I was at the store, because I was like, man, these are probably going to go quick, these are nice finds. If you don't know, this is Atarashi Gakko, Japanese group, really high energy, group, that I'm actually a fan of. I have very fun listens. But these albums, these are also Japanese imports, and these just came out last year, but the store that I'm talking about is you can sell vinyl records to them, and then they basically turn them around. And I was like, oh shit, when I saw these pop up online with them, I was like, oh, that's there's a good chance that those won't be there when I make it back to that store in a week. Lo and behold, they were still there, and I was like, oh fuck, yes. Fortune and fate has smiled down upon me. So yeah, these are 2 Japanese releases, Japanese imports. I don't know how they got over here. I mean, obviously people can order Japanese imports and then decide to sell them. But the turnaround is quite high, or was quick. So someone must have got these and then turned around and sold them back to the store, whatever. Because these were Japanese specific record store day, which is separate from obviously record store day in general kind of thing. This wasn't available for record store day 2024 for here in the States or anything. But this isn't a full album. It has just it's a handful of tracks. I guess you would probably more call it an EP or whatever, of a bunch of singles and stuff. Oh, I don't show it because it's a black record. But yeah, really glad I was able to get it. And then I think I might have spoiled it, but this is the second of the 2. So this was the other one was the first one. This is the same group, AG. Different songs on it. same kind of release thing for Japanese Record Store Day 2024. With a nice, it's like a nice color scheme, and then I tried to show it off here. It's like actual like gold foil there on the front, doing things. Even less songs on this one, I think just 5 tracks. But a good collection of tracks on both of them. Again, very high energy. If you're like wanting high energy show, if you want to like pull up like Atarashi Gakko like videos on YouTube, highly produced like choreography, fun little gimmick for their group in general, I would say, where they're like fake Japanese school class leaders kind of thing is like their whole thing. If you can't get that, if that's not apparently known just by looking at a couple of these things, if you don't know. But very fun music. Highly recommend. And this one I actually show because it is a nice like translucent purple thing to it. But yeah, highly recommend their music. Again, as I said earlier in the video, the tastemaker that I am. Just in general, I'm not saying I'm some early to AG or anything. This is another game soundtrack. This is Sayonara Wild Hearts. Very fun that I finally got this on record, on vinyl. This is another one that I was probably looking at for getting quite some time, and then finally pulled the trigger at some point when the price seemed right. Nice, really simple packaging here, just mostly black, and then just the foil shiny heart there, and then this on the back. I think I do show and open up the gatefold, but again, very minimalistic as far as what it is. It's just song tracks on like relegated to the corners of this. The records themselves are just black, so I don't think I show them, but just solid video game soundtrack. That's basically, the video game itself is mostly just a solid pop album. And mostly, like, you could make the argument it's a pop album that was slightly turned with some video game around it. Basically, it was built around it. Big fan of it. Big fan of the game. I played it way back in the day on Apple Arcade, which I know is still a thing, but no one talks about Apple Arcade, so I don't know how many people actually have Apple Arcade. But back when Apple Arcade was a brand new thing, and it was the whole big deal of Apple being like, oh, you know, game without microtransactions or whatever on your phone. And I think I know Sayonara Wild Hearts was billed as like a big heavy hitter coming to it because it was made specifically for Apple Arcade at the time. And I was like, okay. And I did the month-long trial, I think, for Apple Arcade, and then finished Sayonara Wild Hearts, and then unsubscribed and didn't have to pay anything for Apple Arcade. I beat it. Obviously, it's not a long game or anything, but I just used my free trial just for that game back in the day. So now we begin. I talked about this towards the start of the video. This is the, like, starting to pick up things we did specifically for the trip. There was like I forget, was it a weekend? I think it was just one weekend. I was like, I'm gonna make a trip, and basically where I live up to Austin, basically, so a few cities. I just did like a road trip that was specifically just to go hit up like some vinyl stores. It was like such a nerdy thing I did, but it was fun. It ended up being a lot of fun for just, you know, a day. And so this is the first store I went to in San Marcos, which is where I went to college. And I decided mostly, so what I wanted to do, my idea was there was like a couple stores I wanted to hit in Austin. But I was like, if I'm already driving up there, it'd be cool to make a stop in San Marcos and find a vinyl store there, which I did. I think it was 2. Did I do 2 vinyl stores? Or maybe just 1. I don't know. Already starting to forget what it was. But yeah, so this is going to be the beginning of that journey. So this is another game soundtrack. This is Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is maybe more, if you're not slightly familiar with the game, the back probably is a lot more recognizable of a character. Really nice gatefold. You'll end up seeing really nice package, and the vinyls themselves are vinyl. Ooh, I said vinyls. You're not supposed to plural vinyl like that. I usually don't make that mistake. I don't know why I said it like that. It's because I'm rambling. I've already been rambling for almost an hour and a half. But yeah, Crypt of the Necrodancer, good game, great music, kind of like situation. Really great music. I listened to that soundtrack quite a lot, I feel like, in free time. So nice red. It's one of those things where the two records are very different. That fiery red. Again, it's called Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's like a dungeon crawling kind of like experience set to a rhythm game kind of experience. Nice blue pressing, and then the red one from back then. So red, and then the blue. Oh shit, we're skipping. Spoilers. Oh, look at me. Look at past me holding that. All right, and then we have, oh yeah, I think this was just an insert in there, so I'm just showing that off. There's the tracks. A fun listen to. I know video game soundtracks are like, is it great to just listen to outside the game? For this, I would argue yes. This was at the same store in San Marcos. Illuminati Hotties, band. I say band. Technically, Illuminati Hotties is a band, but it's one of those ones that's like fronted by someone that's really the main player to the actual thing. Forget her name off the top of my head, but I do like me some Illuminati Hotties. She not trademarked, but really popularized the term like tender punk, I think, as like a music genre. Very in your feelings, punk music kind of thing experience. This is another recycled vinyl. So recycled pressing, so made from scraps of other things. If we go back to the beginning, towards the beginning of the video when I was showing the Fool's album, that was Poop Sewer Brown. Compare that to this, and you're like, damn, I really got the short change on that Poop Brown color vinyl. And this one's recycled, and it's like nice red and has some interesting bits of color to it. But you get what you get. You don't throw a fit. Right? But yeah, highly recommend Illuminati Hotties. This is No Blues by Los Campaneros. Again, one of those bands that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But every once in a while I get an itching to listen to them. Avocado Baby by them is like my favorite song. If you just want one song to like go try to listen to. This is like I think 10-year anniversary specific pressing of this album specifically. So it's green with like pink spots on it. It always reminds me of a watermelon. It just looks like a watermelon to me. I don't think that was their intent. But I see this and I go, watermelon. Watermelon pressing of this album. Especially with the pink label. This is just a black one, so I don't end up showing it. But this is TV on the Radio. Return to Cookie Mountain, I think it's called. Just a very solid album. I bought at the same store. So far, these past, 4 have been from the same store. Just a solid album. It's just one of those ones where I was like, ooh, I really like this album, and I want to have it in the collection. This is Machine Girls Super Freak EP. This was also at the same store, so this is the 5th from the same store in San Marcos, and I'm saying all that for a reason that we'll get to once I get to the end of this. But this is just 3 songs on a big 12-inch record, almost to the point where it's comedic that like there are people online are like they could have released this on like a 7-inch, instead of the 12-inch record, and I'm like, it's fine. I really like the artwork on it. It is just black, so I don't think I end up showing this one either. But I do fancy myself quite a bit of Machine Girl music. Super cool concept. I think all 3 tracks on this are really good. And I think, yeah, so those last 5 was at the same store in San Marcos, and I took them up to the cash register, And I was having a nice, lovely chat with the guy running the cash register or whatever. And the 5 picks, these 5 previous picks, caused him to go like, "Oh, it's a really wide range of listening ahead of you." I forget exactly how he worded it, but like he was like, "Oh, that's a really 5 different picks, like very eclectic taste or something like that, something along those lines." And I had to hold everything within me to just be like, try not to say something dorky in response or something, where I was like, "Oh yeah, well I listen to a lot of different kinds of music or something like that. I won't push my glasses up my face or something." Like because I always say I listen to so much music and so many different types of music. I think it's just a true fact. So I had to do everything within my power not to have my head just inflate so high when he said that. But yeah, I think I must have just said something in response like, "Oh yeah, I listen to a lot of music," kind of thing. And I didn't think like even looking back on the 5 picks, right? Like they're all a little different. It's a video game soundtrack thing. It's them. It's this. Oh, I'm skipping. It's TV on the radio. I didn't think it was that bizarre, but the way he said it was like, "Oh, that's a really weird group of picks," and I'm like, "Okay, it's not that bad. Come on, man. It could have been worse." And by worse, I mean it could have been even more varied, I feel like, but whatever. I'm glad random cash register owner of record store knows I'm all about those different types of music, man. Okay, so then I think I ended up going to 2 different stores. I met up with a friend in Austin, and then I ended up going to 2 different record stores in Austin. So this will start the one of them. And this is Beck Square, which is an old album, or, old. It's not like a new release or anything. I'm sure this is like a repress. But Guero by Beck is a massively, like, I don't want to understate this, like a massively important album to me as a teenager. I would listen to this thing so often, front to back, so good. It's like one of the few, while I was a teenager, like albums that I would listen front to back and just I'm enamored every time. So many good songs off of it. It's also like I've talked about this before, but like I was like a CD player listening weirdo in like as a teenager. Like I was listening to the radio, like tuner on it, and then like sticking a CD in it. And as a teenager in Florida, I would rent like CDs from the library, not rent, but like check out, just like you'd check out a book. And like it was like this album was one that I would constantly be getting. Not only did I end up putting it like on the computer, like the family computer at the time or whatever, probably, but like I would just like check out the CD a lot of the time and just be like, I'm just gonna commandeer this CD and stick it in my CD player and take that to school all the time and for bus rides and stuff. And yeah, I think Beck Square is like easily in my top 10 albums of all time, just for me personally. It's just such a good solid album. So like I said, so many good tracks on here. E-Pro, Helena Guerrero, fucking Girl, the most poppy sounding song on the album, but like so many different sounds on here. Hell Yes, Black Tambourine. Like there are so many good songs on this album. Bangers front to back. I love this album. Big fan. I think it's just a black record, so I don't take it out. But they're showing off the gatefold. Nice artwork to the album and everything as well. I think I'd try showing off the little picture here somehow. I think I zoom in on this thing. I'm like, ooh, there's a little art. Let me get that up to the camera. Whoa, there he goes. Yeah. I just love it. Same store there in Austin from Guero. This is Paramore's After Laughter. Again, previously talked about Paramore. I think After Laughter, as far as Paramore's discography, is, I think, quite underrated for whatever reason. I don't know why. I enjoy After Laughter quite a bit. Some massively solid bangers on the album. And I wanted to get it as a vinyl because I think it's dope. I think it's a good record. I talked about like I'm a Paramore fan. I'm not a diehard Paramore fan, but overall I'm like, oh man, I can't tell. I think generally people like Paramore in general, but I think like people that aren't big Paramore fans, they're usually like, oh, I remember like early Paramore stuff. And I'm like, no, Paramore's like actually has only gotten more solid as the years have gone by, in my opinion. Like Paramore, I don't want to get on a soapbox or Paramore or anything, but like obviously Paramore has shifted their sound, but it's like in my opinion one of the few times where like Paramore has shifted their sound. I don't want to say it necessarily like this, but had like more maturized their sound as the years have gone on, and it's like worked like perfectly. Um, that's the best way I can put it. Marbled, I think they call it marble, kind of like color to the record there, mostly white with some black. Same store here in Austin. Graduation by Caro Caro Bonito. I think I've talked, or will, at least in this video, because it's not going to be the only KKB you see on here. Caro Caro Bonito, again, great group. Big fan, in my opinion. This is probably my favorite project by Caro Caro Bonito. I think this track of songs is probably like my favorite grouping of songs, if that makes sense. So this is my favorite album of theirs. Probably Lip Slap is my favorite Caro Caro Bonito song. So if you're like, what is KKB? Lip Slap is probably my favorite. Just super fun. Super fun. Oh yeah, so in year one, there would have been that one Caro Caro Bonito vinyl that I had. So, no stranger here to this channel, but you're going to see more KKB shortly. A little poster that kind of encapsulates their whole, I don't want to say marketing for this album, but their whole concept for the album, maybe? I guess you would say concept? Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. There's a lyric sheet, or not sheet, what houses the vinyl itself. Hot pink vinyl lyrics. And then the vinyl itself is this really nice blue color. Look at that, how pretty. The whole package is nice. I do like the side one here, side two there, as like a label. It's really funny. I like that. And then the, there's that. And then I think this is the last one I got at the first store in Austin. This was Record Store Day. This was a Record Store Day release, but I think 2020 or 2021, whatever the case, I ended up picking up. Something I had been wanting for a while. If you watched the first video in year one, a lot of the Gorillaz vinyl that I picked up was like set the foundation for my collection. This was one that I passed on getting because it's not technically a studio album. D-Sides is a, cut tracks, tracks on the cutting room floor for Demon Sides. Or Demon Sides. I'm thinking D-Sides. Demon Days. Yeah, so a lot of remix tracks on here. And then cut songs. Another 3 LP. I don't think I take them out because they're black, so there's not too much to show. Here again, Unwieldy. As a package, I think I try my best here to show all 3. Here we go. Oh, it's wide. Oh, I have to stand back. Oh, we're getting more of my face. Look at that. Oh my god, you see that side to side I'm trying to do? God, you've never seen moves like that ever before. But like, yeah, Unwieldy. A 3 LP thing is like so fucking massive where you're just like, I don't know how to hold this thing. But I like the package itself. Nice art, concept, going for that. And again, very happy I ended up finally getting this. This makes sense to me in my head where I'm like, oh, this wasn't a year one thing. I was much more focused on making sure I had all the regular studio albums from like Gorillaz, and then wanted to make sure that I had that solid. So that is that. The second Illuminati Hotties, and this I think is the start of the second store in Austin. This is maybe the more popular of the two Illuminati Hotties that I picked up albums. Let me do one more. Some very solid tracks on here. Again, highly recommend. Really fun. Pool hopping is really fun. Is great. And also, Joni, LA's #1 health goth, is a track on there that I'm a big fan of. Pool hopping is a lot of fun. I think that's the first Illuminati Hotties song I have heard, and I was like, oh. And then it was that gateway song where then I ended up going deep into the album. I think this is just a lime green kind of pressing. The coloring is weird because my lighting sucks, but it's much more lime green than this gives. This makes it look like it's Mountain Dew. I would say it's supposed to be more green if you were actually looking at it, but this was another Caro Caro Bonito, not an album, but basically Civilization. Mini projects, both 1 and 2, on one thing, on one pressing. For first, you've seen a couple with Obi strips. This one, I learned a new term for vinyl collection. I think they call this a belly band. So not an Obi strip that goes up and down and can be slid off that way, but horizontal, a belly band. I was like, oh. So it's like this piece of paper that I'm very delicate with as I... Ooh, I kept this in the video because I wanted to show where I go, oh, very carefully. Oh, take that thing off. Keep it on. Don't want to rip it. I didn't want to rip it. It's part of the package to me. But cool package in general. I think it ends up being just like, what, like 6 songs or something altogether? No, I think it's more than that. No? No, I think it's just 6 songs now that I think about it. Civilization 1 and 2 each have 3, I think. Really nice pressing. Again, the lighting doing this a massive disservice. It is a lot more gold looking. This makes it look like it's clear with like some weird yellow bits in it. It really comes across as more gold. So I kind of fucked the I made it look uglier. It's my lighting. It's not it, it's me kind of type situation on this. But yeah, really nice looking. Love that. This is Magdalena Bay's Mercurial I always say that's weird. Mercurial World. We'll see some more Magdalena Bay here in a second. But again, as I've said with a lot of other bands here today, again, tastemaker, not quite, but I'm saying that mostly tongue in cheek. But I've been a Magdalena Bay fan for many years at this point. Like, I will always, man, before like the most recent like Imaginal Disc like album from last year, which ended up being my favorite album of last year, Imaginal Disc. God, I'll remember like tuning in like Magdalena Mondays, where it was just like a few dozen people just watching the two of them like live stream, them like doodling around with music, like just randomly playing instruments or playing like GeoGuessr or stuff like that. Like back in the days when like Magdalena Bay was not big at all. And again, I don't say this to be like, oh, hipstery, oh, I knew them before they were popular. Like I hope I don't come across as that. Like if anything, I'm very happy that Magdalena Bay over the last like couple years has gotten a lot bigger. And like I said, Imaginal Disc was my favorite album last year, and I'm glad that that really resonated with a lot of people because they're very good, they're very fun, very good music. But this isn't that album. This is Mercurial World before. Very nice that I was able to get a copy of this. This has some very, very fun tracks on it. Gatefold. I think that's just black. So I don't think I show off the actual vinyl itself. But yeah, highly recommend Mercurial World, especially if you like listened to Imaginal Disc last year and you're like, oh, which album should I go next to of theirs? I would highly recommend. This is Revan and Rosen near become as gods. Over the last couple years, I've become big listeners of I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Revan and Rosen's work. Um, and this package is dope. So this is Nier Automata covers, another game soundtrack, but it's not a game soundtrack. It's covers. It's big orchestral covers to them. That's kind of what they do. Is these like nice, really nice, like high production, like orchestral kind of like covers to this. I will say before I show off any of this, I usually, especially for these videos and in general, I'm very careful with my vinyl, both records and the packages. As I was shooting this video, I fucking fucked this thing up. Not necessarily bad, not the record itself either, but the package. It upsets me to this day, but basically I'm setting them down as I was doing things. Like below here, there's like a desk. So this is all on like the desk I'm sitting at right now. And as I was like doing something else, it like tipped over and like fell down and crunched like a bit of a corner on one of the gatefolds. And I'm like, fucking typical me. It upset me. Like now you can still see it. Like I said, my collection, I don't need it to be perfect and in mint condition ever, because it's a personal collection that I'm never gonna like get rid of or anything. But it did bum me out that I fucking dinged like a corner, like massively too. Like imagine like I'm trying to like show how big of a corner on one of them. Like it just is like it's like it looks like someone like literally just like bent it and then like bent it back kind of thing. If I cared to get up and show, if I wasn't already almost 2 hours into this video, then I would get up and get a show. But yeah, upset me a bit that I did that. It is what it is. Also, I should point out, I have not played Nier Automata. I still mean to. I played Nier Replicant a couple years back now and loved everything about it. And that'll get brought up here shortly. I don't know why. I'm just, I'm busy. But I mean to get back to, or play Nier Automata at some point. I know I'm going to love it. I loved Nier Replicant. So it's weird that I've listened to a lot of Nier Automata music without playing the game. But it is what it is. This is me showing off the booklet thing that's in it. So it comes with, again, I don't think it's more like liner notes, I think, than lyrics. I don't think it's lyrics. Rosen and Revan. There we go. I think I was saying their names incorrectly. Rosen, Revan. Was I saying that before? Maybe. Revan's like the vocalist on it, that she does a lot of work, and then Rosen, I think, does a lot of the production type stuff. They do, like I was saying earlier, they cover a lot of different video game soundtracks and stuff. And then I think I scroll through. God, I'm scroll through. And it's a fucking physical booklet. I'm so electronic pilled. But yeah, you can see some shots here of, like I said, the covers are like these orchestral kind of like things. So it's really cool. If you're like a sucker for like listening to, even if like the music itself wasn't done with orchestra, if you're like, oh, I want to see what they're like an orchestra take on some of my favorite video game music would be, they're a good resource for that because it's really high quality. This is me showing off the vinyl. It's mostly black, and then it's supposed to be like gold, silver, and black like splatter. I don't know if I got a separate pressing or something, but an example picture when I ordered this didn't look as bare as this. It doesn't look bad, but I've seen pressings of this where the splatter effect is way more. Actually, let me see if I can show. Let me see, even like I think the Discogs thing. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find, just because I think it'd be interesting to. Yeah, okay, I did find one. Here we go. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not crazy. I don't know. This is just an example picture, obviously, but I thought, and now I'm looking at this. Back to this. I don't know. It could just be variance in pressing, like, you know, not everything is going to be exactly the same kind of thing, like deal, you know? But I will say, and like I said, again, lighting, it's maybe doing maybe a bit of a disservice to this whole thing. Especially, ooh, when I show that backside looks quite bare, right? Whatever. It doesn't really matter to me because it still looks nice. And, like, at the end of the day, it's a vinyl collection. And I use it to just listen to music. So what it looks like doesn't really bother me too much. So, at the end of the day, I'm not going to cry too hard. We're back to Ataru Shigako. This is their actual full first, I think, album that I actually ended up ordering at a separate time once it was available. So this is a full length, other than, you know, separate from then those other EPs that I had bought. Again, really high energy, highly recommend. AG Calling is the name of the album. Nice looking press here too. It's very, again, even the lighting kind of mutes just the effect on it here that I got, but it's nice, like, I forget, again, they use some fancy term for it, but very blue with these white kind of like splotches in it. And now to the Nier game I've actually played, Nier Replicant, 10+1 years, vinyl LP box. Now, before we get too much into this, this one has a story attached to it as well. So this, in the first year of my record collection growing, some people will know who this reference is too, but there's on social media, Wario64, this guy who basically uses online spiders to basically, whenever things in a lot of like video game space in the things in the video game realm go on sale, he'll post like, oh, there's this thing. And so this product was being, it's a Japanese import thing, was being massively discounted and with like free shipping through Amazon Japan, like I said, during my first year of vinyl collection. And I was like, oh shit, I really want that. This thing is great. This package is great. So I put an order in. Months and months went by with no update from Amazon Japan. And I would just kept looking at it. I think like normally it retails for probably over 100 or something. But I got it for like 70, and like I said, free shipping from Japan. And I was like, that's great, that's a steal, dude. I want that a lot. I probably shouldn't be talking about prices. I generally didn't want to talk about prices when I was talking in the video today, but I was like, it just no updates. And like I was like, but I didn't want to like ask like customer service about it, because I knew the moment I did that, like something, they were gonna like be like, oh, we're gonna cancel that order or something. So I was willing to just sit on it forever. And then like a couple months ago, not a couple months, it probably, at this point, it was like 6 months ago or something, I got an update, like an email. It was like, we canceled your order. And I'm like, motherfucker, like what? Like it was some dumb thing where it's like, oh, there was no real reason. They just canceled the order finally after like a year of waiting. And I'm like, God, fuck, I really wanted it for somewhat cheap and like free shipping. Why? So then, in an actual fit of rage and like a defiance, I like blacked out for a second and I just bought it full price off of like the Square Enix store and just paid for shipping like a pleb. And then it finally came to me. But I did it out of like defiance because of the original order getting canceled. The cheap order from Amazon Japan being canceled led me to buying it full price for regular price from the Square Enix store. And then the second half of the story is that it came, you know, decent shipping time or whatever. Again, Japanese imports, so it had to come over for a bit. But the fucking, you'll start to see it better when I start rolling this. But it's like part of the package itself is the box. It's like a nice box. That's why it's called an LP, vinyl LP box. Ooh, I'm spoiling. And the original one that came to me, the fucking box on like the top corner was like ripped. And I was like, that's a big bummer. It was like a decent like rip in the box. And I'm like, it's like kind of like a cardboard box. I was like, how does that happen? And you know me, I'm a very passive guy. I don't want to bring up problems, and I don't expect any problems I ever bring up to anyone, whether it be online shopping retailers or personal problems, whatever, to personal people. Like, I never expect things to get solved. So I generally am like, I'm just not going to present a problem to someone. But for some reason, I got the courage to email customer support at the Square Enix store now at this point. And I took pictures. I was like, hey, when this came to me, this thing was just ripped. And I was like, I don't know what you could do about it, but could I get like a replacement on just the box by any chance or anything? Like, is there anything you could do about this? Again, not expecting either an answer or anything that would end up helping me. Wait a couple days, get a response. And it's like an email that completely missed the point. And they were like, thank you for writing to us. Just because the shipping, like, it was something along the lines of, I kept the email, but I'm not going to go find it. But it was like, if the shipping box was damaged in transit, that's not something we would look to actually want to fix or anything. Like, they were talking about, like, the regular ass, like, just shipping box. And I'm like, I looked at it incredulously, and I'm like, no, like, I sent pictures. I attached pictures. I was showing the actual product. So then I replied to it, and I'm like, at that point, I was like, ooh, I should just drop it. I'm not going to get anything I want out of this. But I was dead set at this point. I already broke the seal, so I was like, I'll just do it. I was like, no, it's not the shipping box. Like, I wouldn't care if the box had a rip, like, the thing that the box the product came in, but this is part of the thing. This is part of the product, and I sent more pictures. I know it sounded like I was whining right there. I did it in the least whiny way possible. And I was like, I just wanted to stress to them that I wasn't talking about the shipping box. The brown cardboard box the product came in. Wait a couple days, get a response, and they're like, okay, we see what you're saying. We are willing to send you a new one. But if it gets damaged when it's on its way to you, we're not going to send you a third one. Something along those lines. And I was like, all right, that's better of a result than I thought I was going to get. That's quite... I didn't tell that to them, but I was like, okay. They're like, give us your address or whatever. And I was like, here's the address. Wait a little bit of shipping time. A new box came in, and it's not ripped. So I technically have two of these boxes. They didn't send the whole... Obviously, they didn't send me a whole brand new product. They just sent me the box. But I'm very thankful that they did send a new box. And now I have the old damaged box somewhere in a room somewhere that I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. But it feels weird if I just threw it out. But I don't know why I'd need a second one. But, I mean, it is what it is. So, again, beautiful package. That's a long story for maybe not a very interesting story. But yeah, Nier Replicant, if you're aware of the game, then you'll know its packaging and what you're going to see with a lot of the characters in some of the things. But it's a really beautiful, I would say beautiful, nice package as far as presentation. The flowers here, I forget what God, it's going to bug me that I can't remember the name of the flowers in the game because it's a big thing, but they're white. I try to show it here when I zoom in a bit. I'm trying to show the light reflecting on that. It has like, it's not like glitter necessarily. It's kind of like glitter, but it's some like dust, shiny dust on here for this little very subtle effect on that front. And then I show the back. And it's just soundtrack to the Nier Replicant game. Again, a game that I loved and will look fondly back on as a series on the channel here. It was I think one of my favorites. It also had a very weird moment happen not in the game necessarily, but during the series, there was a weird thing that happened that now is like, whether fortunately or unfortunately, always intrinsically now tied to my memories of the game. Like an outside of the game experience is now tied to this game. Again, whether I look back at that fondly or not is that's up for debate. But yeah, so each of the it's 4 vinyl in the box. Each one is centered around a different character, so it has like a character's theme on it, and then some different remix of that and stuff. So you'll see the 4 characters here as we cycle through. Again, really nice artwork. Really, I guess technically this is 2 different characters, right? If you think about it. It really makes you think, right? And then, again, another paper. This is not a paper doll thing, like from the earlier records, but this is like a vinyl stand. So you could, like, punch this out, fold it, and then, like, could hold one of these things that we just had. But why would I do that? Again, I don't need to do that. I don't want to use it. So I just keep it in the box with everything else. Unpunched. Untouched. And then I try to attempt... So this is the outside of the box. It's like a shell box. Oh, look at this. Dude, I'm so good with it. They should put me on The Price is Right. I'm like one of those models, you know? Like, I'm such a good hand model. So this is at the back of the box. Another piece of art from the game, technically. Well, kind of from the game. You know what I mean? This isn't like a still from the game, but it's characters from the game and stuff. And then look at me showing how it closes. Opens and closes. Look at that. Such good work by me. Pass me. Good job. Pass me. We're getting towards the end here. Look at that. I did not think this was going to take 2 hours. Holy shit. Oh. Okay. So this is a Maginal Disc. I was talking about it a bit earlier. But this is Magdalena Bay. My favorite album of last year. Very fun. Great album. Great concept. Just great. Again, very happy for Magdalena Bay that this blew up for them. Great people. Great music. Showing off the gatefold. Oh, I guess I should say the story now. So this variant on this, this is what they dubbed the tour exclusive variant. So in theory, you are only supposed to be able to get this copy, this style of the record, if you bought it at the merch store during their tour that they did. I did not go to the tour. What ended up happening, and I still to this day potentially feel somewhat bad about what happened, but I mean, like, I just took advantage of a thing that was happening and a lot of people were taking advantage of, and then morally, is that good or bad? I don't fucking know. But basically, I don't know. There's some conjecture on my part when I say all this and what I've been able to glean from online. But this was supposed to be a variant you were only supposed to buy physically at the merch store during their tour, right? Makes sense. Totally makes sense. But I think they ran into production issues where they were selling out quickly, or they just, at different legs of the tour, they didn't have enough to sell to people on hand. So what I think ended up happening is that when they ran out, they presented a link or like a QR code to people in line who wanted to buy this variant of the vinyl record and said, go to this link thing, either via QR code or not, put down an order, and then it will be shipped to you at some point later. But that link, it came out that it wasn't like a protected link. It was just literally like a straight up a link to like the rest of their store where you could buy other copies with a regular variant of this record. And that quickly spread online super quickly. And I, as a very fast online man, quickly, there's no way preventing you. Like, you went to the item description online and it said for people that are at the tour only. And I was that DW Arthur meme where it's like, well, that doesn't apply to me because I don't know how to read type situation. And I just put down an order And I was like, I don't know if it's going to be fulfilled. I don't know if they're getting a flood of orders and they're not going to be able to fill all of these. I have no fucking idea how this is going to work. So I basically put down an order because I wanted this album on vinyl. And I was like, if I had a variant choice, I would definitely want this. You're going to see it in a second. But I was like, I mean, we'll cross our fingers. And, you know, I put it down. They took my money. Months went by. And I was like, there's a chance I get refunded. There's a chance I don't get what I want. There's a chance I just had my money taken from me and I'm never going to see anything from it. I had no idea what was going to happen when I put it down. It ended up obviously finally coming, which is great. And then this is obviously the record. Again, if I had my choice for variants, I definitely wanted this. There was a reason why it was very popular and why it makes sense that they were only selling it as a tour, you know, kind of thing, purchasable thing. It's clear with like this marble yellow, red, blue kind of like swirly colors in it. It looks nice. Again, the lighting kind of doesn't do it justice here on this recorded video I have. Yeah, that's a slightly funny story to that thing where, like I said, months went by and like it was kind of that thing where I know I wasn't the only one who did it, but people are like, are we ever going to get this record? Are they going to be able to fulfill it all? Like, they clearly made a mistake in doing this. Did they just think it was going to be honor system? Did they think no one was going to, like, mess up? I don't know. Or, you know, try to buy it like I did. Hard to say. This is an interesting pickup. So I bought this secondhand online, I think through Discogs at some point a few months back. This is Kingdom Heart Beats, Roborob, electronic remixes of classic Kingdom Hearts songs. This was just like I said, a random pickup. It wasn't too expensive, and obviously as a diehard Kingdom Hearts fan that I am, I was like, yeah, I definitely want this. Pretty good music. Really interesting package you're going to see here in a second. So if you're like, why does it look like this? Like, it looks already weird in the shot. What you're going to see is that this thing actually comes in a custom-made PVC sleeve thing. So I actually take out the gatefold out from this sleeve thing that's just for the record. So there I'm just showing it's just clear with the black. And something I didn't realize until like just recently when I was thinking about it, I don't know if this was intentional, so maybe I'm just reading way too much into it, but leading up to the release of Kingdom Hearts 3, a lot of the marketing in Kingdom Hearts 3 had trailers where they were doing this thing where it was like words in this kind of like font scrolling across the page. You'll have to find like old like Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers and like teasers from like E3 or something, where like text that looked like this would scroll by with like words and phrases, and then in the negative space would be like the trailer playing. And I didn't put this together, but I think that's what this is supposed to kind of be mimicking. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then it's going to be hard to explain. But the trailers were doing this, and I think then this is kind of echoing that. So it ends up being quite funny. But yeah, I think it's interesting that it comes in like this custom sleevey thing. It's kind of weird, but I kind of like it for that. So then the gatefold itself has this very stylized Hollow Bastion castle design kind of like thing. That is Hollow Bastion, right? I'm trying to make sure it's not, now that I think about it. Or is it at the world that never was type deal? Nice colors, nice artwork. There's the gatefold on it. But yeah, classic tracks. Obviously, like, you got that. You have, like, towards the end, you have some really, I really like a lot of the inclusions on here. I really like a lot of the tracks on here. It is very funny to me that, like, This Is Halloween is, like, the one, like, Disney kind of, like, track that ended up squeezing into this list. So much so that, like, Danny Elfman actually gets, like, credited on the record, because I was checking out some of the credits on some of the records recently for something. But yeah, that's oh wait, is that yeah, let me double check that. Let's see this. 1 second. Ooh. Additional design and layout, Rosen. See that? Synergy. I was talking about Rosen and Revan from before. But yeah, nice package. I think I show off the record here because it's clear. I think it's just a clear record. Yeah, it's nice. Great, simplified heart kind of thing. Obviously, Kingdom Hearts, great. Great. This is another Blood Records pressing. This is from the Wombats. We're getting very close here to meeting up to current time. This is the Ocean, released this year. I know we're only like a few months into this year. This is probably so far my favorite album of the year. This early on. I became a Wombats fan like way late. They've been around for quite some time. But it was like 3 or 4 years ago where I started. I forget what song it was. Maybe like Tokyo or something by them. And then I was so interested in that song that then I went back and did like a whole like back catalog, like splurge kind of thing, and then ended up becoming It Is Hand Numbered. Oh, look at that. I'm number 56 out of 750. Look at that. Double digits, baby. But yeah, I really like this album. Very solid. It deals a lot with a lot of depressive aspects. It's a very how would I put it? I don't want to say just like raw, but it's very expressive in its feeling down, feeling sad about certain things. I mean, I don't need to get too much into it and everything, but it's a very emotional album. And the pressing itself is actually really nice. So it's called Oh the Ocean, and it's like it's on a I think it's intended supposed to be like a beach. It looks like a beach. Beach. I don't know why I said it like that. It is the blue. Oh, there we go. We kind of see it there. Blue sparkly there on it. I don't think you can see sparkles there, but blue sparkle. Look at that. That's a beautiful pressing right there for this record. So very nice. I think we have 2 more now. These last 2 just came to me within like the last week and a half. I think I got them like a week and a half ago. This one, actually, this record, this album, as of this recording, just released. But I was sent, and I ordered it, and then it was shipped really early to me. I don't know if it was fully intentional, but the album itself is out today. So this is recording April 4th. This album dropped today. I had the vinyl of this like a week and a half ago, so I was actually listening to this album, I guess technically before it officially dropped. This is by an artist named Babe B. Like it's written out Babebe. So if you're saying it slowly, it's like Babe B. But when you're just saying it fast, you just pronounce it baby. Does that make sense? Whatever. They are quickly becoming very interesting artists to me. Very shades of like Pink Pantheress production with like Imogen Heap type like voice modulation stuff. If I was to like try to like link it to other artists that someone out there may possibly know anything about. But very, very wide range of sounds and stuff. I'm quickly becoming a big fan. Definitely on, the smaller scope of artist, smaller range, I would say, as of right now. But this is like, again, I keep joking about it, but tastemaker wise, if I was to like try to give like my influencing like boost to an artist to try to get more people to try to listen to more of, I would highly recommend this artist. Is I think the art album is All That Heaven Allows. All That Heaven. I think I saw it on the back. For some reason, I always get the name of the. It's okay. All That Heaven Allow. There we go. I got it right. And just a solid album. Very good. Very good. I think this is their first like full length album. Well, no, not technically, but as a first full length album released on vinyl. I know that for sure because I remember when I first started listening to their tracks, I had a while ago, I was like, oh, do they have any vinyl that I could like pick up and buy and support them with? And they didn't until this became available just recently. I know this pressing was just like a 300, I think pressing was on the online when I purchased it from them. But yeah, simple black. Obviously, this is like I think the only second black vinyl that I was showing because the first one was that Scott Pilgrim one, I think. But yeah, I'm such a fan of the artist and of the music that it gets a showing if it's just a black vinyl on my end. They ended up throwing in a lot of extras too, which was nice. So I think I start showing those off here as well. A little like postcard thing. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then what else is there? Oh, look at, I'm reaching. Oh yeah, it's from the same art from the postcard, only it's like a little mini postery thing. I was like, oh great, they just threw that in there. And then also threw in a CD, which I don't have. The only CD player I have in my possession is in my car, I guess at this point. But I was like, oh, that's really nice. They also threw in with the package a CD of their first album or whatever. Their first project. So much so that my favorite Baby track, see there you can see it written. A Prophecy is the track, Baby's their name. This one, Butterfly. And then I forget what this is in. I forget what this translates to. But this is my favorite track. Highly recommend if you're like, Austin, pick one song from this artist you're really trying to get us to listen to. This is the one. I would say Butterfly by Baby. It's like the best, in my opinion, it's my favorite track of theirs. And then also a good representation of the kind of stuff you get. Very interesting song that is. And then full circle within a full circle here. We talked about fucking Brat at the midway point of this video, or whatever midway was, about 2 hours ago. I don't even know. And I talked about how in the first year's video, I talked about ordering the Brat album before I knew it was Brat and before all that. And now we're like a full circle within a full circle because this is another Bad World filled vinyl. This is Brat and it's completely different, which is, you know, interesting pressing, all considered. So if you go back to the Brat one, it's going to be very similar in presentation. It is, there's a sticker, there's the thing, there's that font, but it's not that green color. Look at, okay, so I start to show off. So if you're like, Austin, why does it look reversed? Why does the text look, I can't read? And I go, I would say to that, me too, I also can't read, but also don't adjust your screens. It's designed like that. That's part of the whole thing. And I end up trying to show this off as best I can here. So all the text on the whole package, whether, I don't think it, does it enhance? Zoom in a bit there. All text, even on the sticker, the front, the back, the stuff inside, it's all reversed text. Ooh, when I turn it like that, try to look at, I'm going to try to pause it because this is a thick boy. You know how I was talking about like fucking the 3 LPs, the triple LP, and how thick those things are and unwieldy? Oh my god. Do you see how this is bulging out? You're going to see why in a sec. But again, it's a filled vinyl. So, oh, look how it bows out. It's boom. You're going to see why. But look, I think I show off the back here too. Oh, let me trying to show off. There's this thing. Here, I zoom in. You don't even really see it that well, but all the text is, again, reversed. So here we go. How do I do this? Here we go. I show off. So it's another, so for the uninitiated, this is the remixed album, basically, of Brat from 2024 but this is with the remix version of pretty much every track. I think there's a couple bonus tracks, but also all tracks have like basically guest artists on them. Again, great compliment to the original album. This was a Bad World / Blood Records release. Again, the text all reversed. I think I show off here. So it is a double LP, but one of the LPs is filled. Now, unlike the Bathwater filled one from earlier on that Saltburn soundtrack, this one is white powder, and I try to show it off as best I can. So it is a clear, again, so just like the Saltburn one, it's thick as hell. It is 2 already thick LPs sandwiched together. And then it has space in between them where there's this white powder, and we'll just keep saying it's white powder. Now, the interesting, the point of these videos is to always bring up the interesting stories to them, and when I secure these, these things, whether it's the trips or the buying of these things. So, again, this is Blood Records or Bad World, the offshoot of Blood Records, which I've, been a supporter of now for these 2 years. The release of this was interesting. So as I said during the Saltburn one, is that he calls it the vault, will open up for a couple days, usually like 48 to 72 hours, collects all the orders that people want to buy it, then it closes, and then they make them to order. And then when this came out, unlike a 48 to 72 hour window, it ended up being like even less than 24 hours, which was weird. It closed, I think, in like 23 hours or so. I got my order in pretty quickly because I was ready for it. I'm on top of my shit. But it closed, stopped taking orders, and then all of his social media marketing or social media posts about this pressing, and even the listing itself was like scrubbed from the shop page, which is weird because even when Vault has closed for these different things, because I technically could have had like many different liquid fill vinyl, but I'm only going to pick up the ones I actually want. But like the listing for this was completely scrubbed. And people are like, why is that? Why did it go so quickly? And why was it scrubbed kind of thing? And there wasn't really any big official words about it. So it led some people to think that these were being canceled for whatever reason, the orders themselves. And Craig, the owner, was being a bit cagey about it, being like, nah, like clearly, like all he was saying was the orders, if you got an order in, it wasn't being canceled, but it was clear that he wasn't openly talking about what ended up happening to it. And it's one of two things as an observer such as myself, and a noticer, if you will. There was, weirdly, as with anything online, a lot of backlash to this product, because there were a lot of, I'll just say it, unfun people out there thinking that this was like glorifying drugs, which is absurd in just the concept and whatever. Like, they think that having this, because I'm not gonna be here and act all coy about it. Of course, the theme, some of the part of the theme of the album, whatever, implied drugs, whatever the case you may be, it's white powder for a reason, kind of thing. Like, so there was a lot of online backlash towards this, which again is absurd. Much more important things to, I think, be upset about in the world. But I think he got a lot of blowback from this. And so I think one of two things ended up happening. One, the annoying people, for lack of a better term, got so annoying about it that he was just like, all right, we're going to take the orders for a day, basically, and then I'm just going to take it down so that, I don't want to say it like this, but the proof that this was a project is not out there, so that I don't have to keep listening to this kind of thing. Or the second thing I've seen kicked around at some point right before these got in the hands of people was that I don't know the rules to this, so I don't know the validity to a statement like this at all. But there was something that someone out there on the internet positing that there might have been some kind of rule breakage in UK, because Blood Records and Bad World is a UK company, and that they broke some kind of UK advertising guidelines with this product. I heard someone saying that that might be the case, and so that would then lead him to, fine, we'll honor all the orders we took in, but then we're going to scrub that we were advertising it kind of thing and putting it out there. That vaguely makes sense to me. And if that was the case, that makes a little more sense if you're just going to be kind of cagey about talking about it then in the future. All that to say, I think one of those two reasons is the reason why you're not going to see him come back. Because I said during the Saltburn one, that like the vault opened, collected some orders, then it closed, and then like a couple months later reopened, and then closed again. I don't think you're gonna be able to buy this again. I don't, for one of the two reasons I just stated previously. I think this is not going to be offered again, either because of, again, people taking offense to it, or, like I said, potentially it was just a random online comment I saw from someone, and I was like, that sounds like it could be a thing, but I'm no expert in advertising laws, let alone UK advertising guidelines. Like, I don't fucking know what that could possibly mean, but it vaguely sounds like something that could be a thing. If it, again, I know other countries sometimes are very strict about marketing of things that represent drugs or make allusions to drugs, right? So, like, the same, like, the thing, like, in video games, in, like, a strict country like Australia, where if in your video game, in any way, if a game character can do drug and then you get some benefit, some, like, in-game benefit, like a health increase or something, then it automatically rates your games much higher for a much more mature audience, because they don't want to glorify drug use in any way, shape, or form. It's a weird illusion to make here, but, like, you know, it's that thing where it's like other countries could see in any shape glorifying drug use as harmful or something, you know. But like I said, I ordered mine quickly. I got in there. I was smart about it. I knew what I was getting. It's a thick boy. It's a very simple concept, but it's a good concept to fit with everything else. I just like it. The album itself is really good. Again, Brat itself was a great album. There are some great remixes on the album. There are some bad remixes. Like, Von Dutch was the lead single from the Brat album. The Von Dutch remix, I'm just not a fan of. I think it's quite not great. I'm a certified hater of the remix of that, but yeah, I really like this. It's simple. It's filled, in my opinion, with just enough of the white powder in there to where you can see the effect, but it's not just like fucking caked ever. Because at some point, if you fill it all with this, then there's not like a bunch of movement space, and you'd be like, oh, that's lame, you know, kind of thing. Look at me just spinning, having fun spinning my powdery filled vinyl. Again, sound quality is good. I'm showing the second album, so it is a double LP, but I think to keep costs down, he only released one of them as the A, B sides as the filled one. The C and D is just this white vinyl, which I'm totally fine with. I know some people I saw online were complaining, oh, why didn't you make both? And then he brought up a good point. He's like, if I did both, there's going to be people complaining that's too expensive because it's whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that is the case. Like, this is the good, like, I think a good compromise, because they are, as a product, it is more expensive, right? If you're ordering. Not only, also, I gotta say, I was gonna say I was gonna talk price or whatever, but ooh, it kills me, dude. I'm like ordering vinyl already can be a bit pricey, but like these filled ones, and then I pay like shipping from like the UK, sucks ass. And I've already heard word from like Craig that like orders now, if these tariffs stick that the US is imposing is just not going to make, it's going to make prices go even more. So I'm already probably going to pay. It's not great. Let's just say it's not great. Not a great situation on my end. Oh yeah, I'm trying to show. Oh, I was like, why am I holding it there? I was showing that even on the record, the text is reversed here, right? Right here. See that? RPM is reversed. And then I think I show, just like in the Brat vinyl, all the text reversed. There's some of my face coming in there. But yeah, booklet, just like in Brat. Again, a middle picture thing that I showed there for a sec. And then again, the text, all in different shapes, but all reversed, so you can't even read it. So don't even worry about it if you don't know how to read. But I'm showing it off anyway. And I think that's about it. Perfect. And that's it. Holy shit. So yeah, I know at the end of last year's year 1 video, I said, you know, I think at the time I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do a year 2 video. Same with here. I don't know if I'm going to do a year 3 video. Who knows? The channel might be gone by then. And I'll just retire and become a hermit in a mountain or something. But if I do this, if I'm still around for another year, I'd imagine I'd want to do a year 3 video. I would also imagine, I'll say it right now, I think we ended up going through 40 different records. 40 something. It was like 42 or 43. I don't think I'm going to have that much for year 3. I think I'm going to chill. Not exclusively just because I said about how expensive things are, but just in general, like, I don't want to say I went crazy with purchasing this year, because I don't think I went crazy, but I definitely splurged, but like in a healthy way, I think, if that makes any sense. I think I was responsible in my splurging, but like, I could just feel that I'm not going to probably have as close to as like 40, you know, more. I say that now, but who knows what can actually end up happening. I do know, I think as of right now, so this is my current collection. Everything in here, everything I've shown now from this and the year 1 video is everything I have. So nothing's missing from this. There is 4 or 5 individual records that I think I have orders, like pre-orders through the next probably like 5 or so months. But I don't see myself going too crazy. Like I said, I would be surprised if I get up to 40. I could see myself at max getting back up more closer to like year 1 where I'm getting like maybe 20 at max, but it might not even get that high. Things are pricey, and also like my collection is filling up at a decent rate, so I don't need to fill it as much. It's responsible collecting, you know. Responsible collecting. But yeah, really just a big fan of my collection. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's collection with a purpose, is how I'd put it. And I gotta say, I did not think that this would take 2.5 hours. But I guess I should have known that that was bound to happen, because anytime I do anything on this channel, I always think it's not going to take as long as it does, and then it is long. So I'm going to, we'll cut here, we'll do a BRB. I still do want to play some Valkyria Chronicles for a bit, so I'll probably throw up a BRB to get some water, because my voice is raw. My throat is raw now. I'm speaking for 2.5 hours straight about music and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed watching. I'll be back shortly. Plan is to get this video up on YouTube, and then I'll link to it at some point probably, and then we might do a year 3 video from a year from now, and we'll see what other pieces. Like I said, I know at least I'll have 4 or 5 more a year from now. I don't know how much beyond that it'll be. How could you be such an unfun person online that this would be something you complain about? Unfun people. That's all I gotta say about that.